What's up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my full card breakdown and predictions for UFC 252, Daniel Cormier versus Stipe Miocic 3. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another full card breakdown and prediction video. This time we are breaking down UFC 252, and what a card it is. I mean, we have a fantastic main card. We have the Sugar Show, we have a Legend and JDS fighting, and we have the trilogy of DC versus Stipe. I can't wait to see how it all plays out. The prelims are a little iffy, but there's some good fights on there, and we're going to break it all down for you here today. Before we get started, though, if you guys can leave a like, also subscribe if you haven't yet, would appreciate that a ton. Would love to get 6,000 subscribers by the end of summer, so any subscribe helps there. I just want to do a quick recap of last week. I went 4-1 on my bets. A very good week for me. Hopefully you guys did good as well. I had Chris Weidman, got him at minus 130, 1.5 units on that. Andrew Sanchez, plus 130, got him there. I had a Zalau's Dariush parlay at minus 109 for 2 units. And then I had Zalao inside the distance. And this one kind of makes me a little upset because Zalao had like 5 different opportunities to finish Peter Barrett there. So, I mean, that was the one I lost. And the other one was Justin James versus Gavin Tucker. Fight doesn't go to decision. But, very profitable week for me. Like I said, hopefully you guys did good as well. We're going to keep it rolling. Nice to bounce back from last week. And hopefully continue it here on a very good card in UFC 252. So some very important announcements before we get into the first fight of the night. As always, I'm doing a giveaway on these big cards. So I'm doing 2 giveaways. Same thing I did last month. The first one, this is for all the DraftKings players out there. Going to invite the first 100 people that comment here. First, what you got to do to enter this is like the video. Next, subscribe if you haven't yet. Third, comment your DraftKings username, and I'll send out those invites as soon as you comment them, as soon as possible. And then, like I said, the first 100 to accept are going to be in that. $25 the first. And the next one, this is for everyone that doesn't play DraftKings, or even if you do play DraftKings, you can do both. So last month I did the total amount of strikes that Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski landed. And whoever got closest got the winning prize. So I'm going to do the same thing here with Stipe and DC. So the first time, and I mean the last time they fought, they combined for 304 significant strikes. And what I'm going to do here is, last time there was a 5-way tie for first, and they were all 1 strike away. Of course, the tiebreaker went to the person that commented first, but for this, if you get it right on the dot, if you say they land a combined 250 significant strikes and you comment 250, and you get on the dot, I'm gonna double the winning prize. So $25, whoever gets it. If you get it on the dot, it's gonna go to $50. Not much, just something to say thanks for all the support. Would love to give back to you guys here. Would eventually like doing giveaways every single week, but for now, I'm just gonna do them on these big cards. So, to enter that, make sure you like, make sure you're subscribed, and then comment the amount of significant strikes you think you're gonna total, and then I'll get the money out to you after the card there. So. The other announcement I want to make is I will be on Odds HQ pretty much all week this week. I'm going to have a show on Wednesday. Going to have a show on Friday as well. So make sure you guys go over there, support me on there. Just giving more breakdowns and all that. And then, of course, as always, on Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm going to be going live, going over my final bets and over the weigh-ins, DraftKings, betting, all that. A lot of good stuff on there. Come in, hang out. Seems to be growing every week. Come in, ask questions, hang out for about an hour. And then other than that, we are going to get started with the video. And we're going to start with the first fight. So it was Cutelaba and Ankalaev was on here. The fight got canceled. I think Cutelaba had something, like COVID or something. So that fight's moved to later in the month, late August there. So we have Kai Kamaka III versus Tony Kelley. And this is the very last fight I taped, and I wasn't able to find much. I'm going to do a lot more digging tomorrow, but the odds aren't out for this fight. But from what I saw, we'll go over the stats real quick. Kamaka is 25 years old. He has 5'7", 7-2, 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Tony Kelley is 33 years old. He is 5'10", 5-1, and then 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Kelley's finished 80% of his fights, and Kamaka's finished 14%. He's won by sub before. And then they both have lost by decision before. And then I think Kamaka had some type of injury. But, watching tape on Tony Kelley, I was extremely surprised. I was watching the fight with Kevin Aguilar, and it didn't look like a guy with only 6 fights. I need to dig into it more, but I think he has some type of experience outside of MMA because he looked very, very comfortable in that Kevin Aguilar fight. He lost a split decision. I mean, one of the judges gave it to him. I mean, he looked good. He was able to take down Aguilar a couple times. I saw him pick up Aguilar and slam him. So he has very good takedowns. Aguilar is no slouch whatsoever. He's won a couple fights in the UFC. I know he's been on a 3-fight skid, but Kevin Aguilar is not a bad fighter. And Kelley was able to stick with him. And this was in 2016. And a little bit of a concern was he didn't fight for about 3 years. His last fight was, I think, 2016, and then he took a 3-year layoff. Not sure why. Still got to dig into it. And then he fought in 2019 and got a win there. But from what I've seen from Kelley, I mean, he looks good. It looks like he's very crisp striking. I think the better defensive striker, on the defense is Tony Kelley there. I think that Kamaka is very hittable. Watching tape on him was more impressed with Kelley overall. I'm not sure where this line's going to open up. I'm assuming Kelley's going to open up the favorite, but maybe I'm off because there was not much tape on Kamaka. I was able to see him get a couple takedowns. And his last fight was a very close fight. He went to war with, I forget his name, but he was very hittable. His body is left wide open. He was getting tagged a ton. Wasn't able to watch the full fight. Was able to see highlights, and there's a lot of highlights in there, so I got a good feel of the fight and then saw a couple other of his fights, but there really wasn't much out there of this Kamaka guy. Kelley looks like a big 145er. He really does. He's 5'10", going to have a 3-inch reach advantage, 3-inch height advantage. I'm assuming he's going to have a reach advantage as well. But just based off what I've seen so far, and this pick might change, but I think Tony Kelley's the better fighter, and I'm picking him to win. He does have a bunch of submissions on his record. Don't really know what Kamaka's ground game's like, but I'm going to pick Kelley to win a decision here. Kamaka's not dangerous at all. And, Kelley looked like, from what I've seen, had a pretty good chin. He took a lot of flush shots from Aguilar, a lot of flush knees as well. So good chin on him. I think he's a better fighter. I'm going to go with Tony Kelley by decision. Really curious to see what the odds are going to be for that fight. All right, so next, this fight is, it's a fight. I mean, like Parker Porter, he is 35 years old. He is 6 foot with a 74-inch reach. He is 10-5, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Christopher Dawkins, he is 30 years old, 6'2". Don't know his reach. He's 8-3 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. So Christopher Dawkins, the brother of Kyle Dawkins there. Look at the odds here. Parker Porter is -115. And then Christopher Dawkins is -105. So the line is closing in a little bit, and I can definitely see why. Watching tape on this Parker Porter dude, like, he is not impressive at all. Like, this is such a low-level fight. I really don't know why this fight is on the card. Porter, he wings these big, ugly, overhand rights, overhand lefts, and he just does not look like he comes in fight shape. I mean, the last couple fights, he's looked pretty awful in there. I mean, his cardio is not bad for, how he looks. Like, I saw him go into the 3rd round and look. I mean, he was able to dig through. He looked tired, but he was able to dig through that. I think he has the better cardio. But as for the better striker, the more skilled fighter overall, I think it's Christopher Dawkins here. Christopher Dawkins, he hits a lot harder. He looks like more of a fighter, if that makes sense, than Parker Porter. I mean, Porter just does not look in shape whatsoever. Just comes in there. I want to see both these guys on the scales. I really do. Christopher Dawkins looks like a pretty big heavyweight from what I've seen. He's 6'2", going to have a 2-inch height advantage there. Porter is 6 foot. So I don't know. This is a very tough fight to call. It's so level, but I'm going to pick Christopher Dawkins to get a first-round knockout. Both these guys have been knocked out before. Just taking a look here. Dawkins has been knocked out twice. Porter has been knocked out twice. They've each been submitted once. I don't really think this is going to go to the ground. I don't think. If anything, Porter probably gets it to the ground, but I don't think he really has the wrestling to do that. But give me the guy that hits harder. Give me the guy who probably has the better striking here in Dawkins, and I think he's going to knock out Porter in that first round. If he gets extended out of that first round, Dawkins' cardio is very, very questionable, so I think Porter would have a shot then. But I'm going to say that Dawkins gets him out of there in the first round. Really a fight I'm not looking forward to there, but I mean, it could be fun, or it can be like a really sloppy, ugly heavyweight fight, and that's, probably what's going to happen there. All right, this fight's going to be fun. TJ Brown versus Danny Chavez. So taking a look at the odds here, TJ Brown is a -155 favorite, and Chavez is a +135 underdog. So Brown was like a -180 favorite a couple days ago. So the money is coming in on Chavez, and we'll talk about it a little bit. But Brown is 30 years old. He is 5'9" with a 73.5-inch reach. He is 14-7 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Danny Chavez, he is 33 years old. He is 5'8", 10-3 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. So the thing about Danny Chavez is there's not much tape on him at all. Like I was able to watch a handful of fights, so I don't really have a good read on this guy. The one fight I watched, it was in 2016, but he was taken down a couple times. He looked kind of like a fish out of water on the mat, but that was so long ago, and fighters make improvements so fast. So this is such a tough fight to call, but from what I see and from what I know, I do think TJ Brown is going to be the better fighter here. TJ Brown, I actually, I really like his style. He's a very good wrestler. He has a very, very good ground game. The downfall of Brown is this dude's chinny. And that's probably why the line's coming in a little bit, because this Chavez dude, his first 7 wins, he didn't have a knockout. They're all by submission. But his last 3 wins, I think he has 2 head kick knockouts and another knockout. So 3 knockouts in a row for this Danny Chavez guy. And I think that's maybe why the line's coming in a little bit. TJ Brown has been knocked out twice. He's been submitted 3 times. Just making some stupid mistakes on the ground. We saw in the Jordan Griffin fight. He was looking fantastic. Absolutely dominated Griffin in that first round and ended up getting submitted in the second. But from what I've seen out of Chavez, he got taken down by some lower level guys. He's been submitted twice, I believe. I'll double check that right now. But yeah, he's been submitted once actually. So man, I think TJ Brown's going to win this fight. If he fights smart, I have a feeling he's going to dominate this fight. Like I really do like this guy. I mean, from what I've seen on tape, very, very good wrestling, very, very good grappling. And I just don't think Chavez's ground game is going to be on the level of TJ Brown's. And I wish I would be able to see enough tape, and that's probably why I'm not going to bet this unless the line gets a little bit closer, minus 155. If it gets a little bit closer, I might take a shot on Brown because I have a feeling he's going to come out here and dominate this fight, possibly even get a submission. But, if Brown comes out here and stands with Chavez, Chavez can maybe knock him out. I don't know, but we'll have to see. I want to kind of see this Chavez dude at weigh-ins. I kind of want to see both of them at weigh-ins as well. But right now I'm going to pick TJ Brown to win. And I'm going to pick him to win by first round submission there. I just think his ground game is going to be much better than Chavez's ground game. And yeah, give me TJ Brown. All right, Jandiroba versus Felice Herrig. Taking a look at the line here, and this is kind of surprising, honestly. Like Jandiroba is a minus 320 favorite here, and Felice Herrig is a plus 260 underdog, and I honestly don't really get that. I mean, Herrig's coming back from like a 2-year layoff. From what I've seen with Jandiroba, I'm not impressed with their striking whatsoever. I honestly think Herrig's one to be the better striker here, and for that reason alone, I don't think she should be a minus 320 favorite. If Herrig can keep this upright, she's going to be very live. And the thing is though, and this is why I am picking Jandiroba, I don't really think I think Jandiroba's going to get this to the ground. From what I've seen, Jandiroba has pretty, solid wrestling. She has some pretty good takedowns. Herrig does have a 76% takedown defense as well. Herrig hasn't been taken down since, I want to say 2015 was the last time she was taken down. I want to say it was by Paige Van Zant. But yeah, she hasn't been taken down in 5 years. Of course, she's been a little bit inactive, but I do think Jandiroba is going to get her down. I would not parlay the minus 320. That's just insane. Because if Herrig can stuff those takedowns, she is live. She is very live in this fight. She is the way better striker. Just did not like what I've seen from Jandiroba on the feet, but I do think this gets to the mat. Jandiroba has very good BJJ. She's finished 80% of her fights by submission. Maybe she catches Herrig. Herrig is no slouch on the ground though, but yeah, I'm going to pick Jandiroba to win, probably by decision. I think she's going to do some work on the ground. If this does stay on the feet, Herrig has a shot, but I just see Jandiroba being able to get Herrig down. Jandiroba has some pretty good trips, pretty good takedowns, so 46% takedown accuracy for Jandiroba. She averages 4.23 takedowns as well. So yeah, I do think she's going to get Herrig down. Not a fight I'm overly interested in at all, but I'm going to take Jandiroba to win 2 out of 3 rounds. Get a pretty close decision there. Just not a fight I'm definitely not going to bet on. If anything, the value is probably on Herrig if you think that she can stuff the takedowns, because on the feet, I think she's going to, definitely have the advantage there. All right, Herbert Burns versus Daniel Pineda, and this is going to be a very fun fight. Herbert Burns has came into the UFC and looked phenomenal, finishing both of his fights. Herbert Burns, he is 32 years old. He is 5'9" with a 74-inch reach, 11-2, 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Daniel Pineda, he is 35 years old. He is 5'7" with a 70-inch reach, 26-13, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. So Daniel Pineda, his last fight in the UFC, I want to say was in like 2014, 2015. Ever since leaving the UFC, he was like 7-2. But Herbert Burns, man, he has been very impressive. I see improvements in this guy's game. A couple fights ago, he didn't look like he had the best striking, but he looks like he's improved his striking fight after fight. He is definitely getting better for sure, and he's a very dangerous guy. On the mat, he has finished 73% of his fights by submission. He has a very, very good ground game. And Pineda doesn't have a bad ground game at all, but I do give the advantage to Herbert Burns there. On the feet, probably give the advantage to Pineda, but I do think it could be a little bit closer, especially if Burns, keeps making those improvements. And I do think this fight's going to hit the mat one way or another, whether it's Herbert Burns getting it to the ground or whether it's maybe Pineda getting it to the ground. I think Burns will, more than welcome the fight on the mat. And when it gets on the mat, I just think Burns is the superior grappler, and that's where it's probably going to take place a lot of the time. Taking a look at here, Pineda has been submitted 5 times. He hasn't been submitted in a while, though, but he hasn't fought someone in the caliber of BJJ as Herbert Burns. So I do think Burns is going to submit him probably first round. Some numbers I want to point out. Burns has finished 82% of his fights. Pineda has finished 100% of his fights. 100%. Pretty crazy there. He's been finished 7 times. So in 26 wins, all of them have came by finish. So this is a dangerous guy. So, if anything, I really don't think this fight's going to a decision. I think someone's going to win inside the distance. Burns has never been knocked out. Burns has never been submitted. And I do think Burns is going to get the submission here, probably early. So maybe the under is a look in this fight. But give me Herbert Burns, first round submission. I think the UFC is bringing in Pineda in here to lose and get Herbert Burns a win. So Herbert Burns by submission. I'm really looking forward to that fight. It's going to be a good one for as long as it lasts. So Livian Souza versus Ashley Yoder. Souza, she is 29 years old. She is 5'3" with a 63-inch reach. She is 13-2 and 4-1 in her last 5 fights. Ashley Yoder is 32 years old, 5'7", 66.5-inch reach, 7-5 and 2-3 in the last 5 fights. So Yoder's going to be the bigger girl in here. Taking a look at the odds, Souza is -160 and Yoder is +140. So the line is, getting a little bit wider on Souza. And I mean, this fight I think will play out a little bit closer than people think. Really wasn't too high watching tape on Souza's striking. She's pretty hittable. She was getting outstruck by Sarah Froda. If you guys know who that is, the girl with the mohawk. And, she averages 2.02 significant strikes per minute. She has a 39%, striking accuracy. I do think she's going to be the faster striker in this fight, though. And, she absorbs 2.2 significant strikes per minute with a 63% striking defense. So Souza averages 4.59 takedowns per 50 minutes with a 45% takedown accuracy. So she was taking down Carla Esparza, and that's a good accomplishment there. She took her down, I think, 3 times, and she averages 3.67 submissions per 15 minutes. So 15 fights for Souza there. She's finished 15% by knockout, 62% by submission. She has a good ground game, 77% finish rate overall. She's lost by decision twice, and she has never been submitted or knocked out. As for Ashley Yoder, she lands 2.67 significant strikes per minute with a 35% striking accuracy, absorbs 3.65 with a 51% striking defense, averages 1.25 takedowns per 15 minutes with a 50% takedown accuracy, 64% takedown defense. 12 fights for Yoder. She's won half of her wins by submission. She's lost by decision 5 times. I mean, this fight, I think Souza's going to win. I think she's going to be the faster fighter on the feet. Honestly, both these girls do not have the best striking whatsoever. I do think if this plays out on the feet, Yoder can definitely make this a close fight. Maybe Yoder can take down Souza. But, Souza has a pretty good ground game. Souza's very good at getting takedowns. I do think she can possibly take down Yoder, spend a couple minutes on top. Don't really see either fighter getting submitted here. But, man, I just think Souza's going to be the more active fighter in this fight. Throw more on the feet, try to get more takedowns, be more successful on the ground. But Yoder's pretty dangerous on the ground as well. Like I said, she's finished half her fights by submission. But I'm going to go with the fighter I think's a little bit faster, a little bit quicker, and Livian Souza. But I would not be surprised if Yoder was able to make this a very ugly fight and make it a lot closer than the line indicates. I think this, should be closer towards a pick'em, but I do think, Souza's going to win at least 2 of those 3 rounds. Wouldn't be surprised if Yoder won one of those rounds, or even if it was a split decision. But yeah, give me Livingston Souza to win by decision. Not a fight I'm overly looking forward to, and not a pick I'm really confident in, but I think she gets it done. So this fight, could be possibly fight of the night. I think it's definitely one of the candidates that could be. Vince Pichel versus Jim Miller. So we're going to get into some stats here. Vince Pichel, he's 37 years old. He's going to be the older fighter, but he only has 14 fights on his record. He's 5'10" with a 72-inch reach. He is 12-2 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Jim Miller, he is 36 years old, 5'8" with a 71-inch reach, 32 and 14. That's 46 fights. I mean, that's a ton. 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Getting to some of the numbers here, Vince Pichel averages 3.12 significant strikes per minute with a 42% striking accuracy. Vince Pichel absorbs 2.67 significant strikes per minute with a 54% striking defense. Pichel averages 4.25 takedowns per 50 minutes, and this is going to be a little bit important here. I want to talk about this. He's not going to want to take down Jim Miller. I mean, maybe he does, but that's playing right into Jim Miller's game. And, what I'm expecting is Vince Pichel not taking down Jim Miller. I think that would be smart. So we're taking a lot away from Vince Pichel's game here with him not going for takedowns. It's something he does. He goes for takedowns. He gets them. He's a very good wrestler. But is he going to want to take down the very, very dangerous Jim Miller? Personally, I don't think so. So we're taking a lot of Vince Pichel's game away here if he doesn't go for those takedowns. And that's something to think about there. But a 62% takedown accuracy, which is, fantastic. Pichel has a 20% takedown defense. And a lot of that is from Gregor Gillespie, but he was taken down by Roosevelt Roberts a couple times as well. But 20% takedown defense, that's something to note as well. So in 14 fights, Pichel has won 53% by knockout, 13% by submission, 66% finish rate overall. Pichel has never lost by decision. He's lost by KO once, and he's lost by submission once. That was to Gregor Gillespie. So taking a look at Jim Miller here, Miller averages 2.83 significant strikes per minute with a 40% striking accuracy. He absorbs 3.02 significant strikes per minute with a 59% striking defense. He averages 1.69 takedowns per 15 minutes with a 41% takedown accuracy. He has a 46% takedown defense. So he averages 1.87 submissions per 15 minutes as well. So 46 fights for Jim Miller. He's won 13% by knockout, 56% by submission. Very dangerous on the ground. He's lost by decision 9 times, lost by KO twice, lost by submission 3 times. Looking at the odds here, Pichel is a minus 125 favorite. Jim Miller is a plus 105 underdog. And, I mean, this fight is a very close fight. A very, very close fight. I think it should be, closer to that pick'em. I see some money coming in Pichel. I don't necessarily agree with that. But, Jim Miller is very, very dangerous in that first round. Most of his finishes do come in that first round. And I don't know. I don't think Pichel is going to go for takedowns here. And on the feet, honestly, I think it's very close. I think I'll give the slight edge to Pichel on the feet, but it's pretty close. And if Pichel's not able to, implement that wrestling game, that's part of his game plan in most fights, I don't know. I just see Jim Miller possibly even going for takedowns here and taking down Vince Pichel. And when Jim Miller gets him down, I think he's going to submit him. Maybe Pichel's able to stuff those takedowns, but man, I don't know, 20% takedown defense. He was taken down 11 times in his past 2 fights, which is an absolute ton. But, man, I see Jim Miller some way getting this to the ground, whether it's Pichel taking him down or whether it's Miller going for a takedown as well. I just see this going to the ground at some point. And at that point, I think, Miller's going to submit him. Pretty bold call there. I see a lot of people on Pichel. I don't get it. I think it's going to be a close fight. I really do. I think if Pichel can survive that first round where Miller's most dangerous, he definitely has a shot of winning the next 2. I just see Miller getting him out of there early. So give me Jim Miller by first round submission. That's going to be my second underdog on the card. Don't know if I'm going to bet that, but maybe bet it. Like maybe Jim Miller first round, you'll get some crazy odds on that. Jim Miller by submission. I honestly could see him winning a decision as well. If he really, wins that first round, is able to, get one of the next 2, I think these rounds are going to be very close, a lot closer than, people are expecting here. Like Miller is not that outmatched on the feet as much as many people think. So give me Jim Miller, first round submission, a fight I'm really, really looking forward to there. And yeah, by the way, guys, Friday I'm going to be going over my final thoughts and everything, going over my bets. I give out my bets on Twitter as well. So make sure you guys follow me on Twitter. DFS_numbers have been absolutely killing it. Also on Instagram, you can follow me, DFS by the numbers. My DMs are always open for any questions. All I'm doing all week is some type of research for MMA whatsoever. So maybe I see something, especially with the Kelley fight. I do got to look into that a little bit more. I gotta really dig into the backgrounds of these fighters because there is probably something I'm missing with that fight that could be important. But just make sure you follow me on all social medias. I try to tweet out stuff throughout the week as well. And like I said, you guys can ask me questions at any time. So with that said, everyone, when you get into this fight here, a fight I'm really looking forward to. I mean, Dvalishvili is a absolute monster with the takedowns. He got like 13, 14 takedowns his last fight. He's very good wrestler. But John Dodson, someone who's 35 years old, he's getting up there in age. He's kind of slowing down in his career right now. But he ended up getting a finish of Nathaniel Wood, a very good prospect in Nathaniel Wood, and that caught a lot of people off guard. But man, this is going to be a very good fight. But we'll get into it right here. Dvalishvili, 29 years old. He is 5'6" with a 68-inch reach, 11-4 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. John Dodson, 35 years old, 5'3", 66-inch reach, 21 and 11 and 2 and 3 in his last 5 fights. So, Merab's going to be the bigger fighter in there. I mean, he's going to have a 3-inch height advantage, a 2-inch reach advantage. But looking at the odds here, and this is a little weird to me. I'll tell you guys right now, I've already bet Dvalishvili. I bet him by decision at minus 130. Don't know what that is right now, but I do see that he's minus 230 on the money line. Minus 230. Just yesterday he was like minus 180. So a lot of money is coming in on Merab, and honestly, I definitely know why. But I see a lot of love for John Dodson out there, and we'll talk about the matchup a little bit. John Dodson is a plus 190 underdog, but like I said, I do have a bet on Merab. So just breaking down the fight a little bit. Merab averages 7.8 takedowns per 50 minutes. John Dodson, he has an 80% takedown defense. So, the first thing I watched on tape was try to see, how good is John Dodson's takedown defense. And it's pretty good. He is, he's a really good takedown defense, very good get-up game, but that's against fighters that aren't Dvalishvili. I mean, he's on a whole other level. I mean, this guy has very, very good takedowns. The only downfall of that is his top control is pretty awful. He has some pretty awful top control. So that's why he's racking up 10 takedowns, 11 takedowns, 12 takedowns. And I think he's going to get Dodson down for sure, 100%. He's going to get Dodson down. But I don't think he's going to be going out there and control Dodson for minutes at a time. But I do think he gets him down. I think he gets him down a couple times around, really wears on him. And, by the end of the second, middle second, third round, I think Dodson's going to be very, very tired. It takes a lot of energy trying to stuff these takedowns, trying to get up from Merab. And Merab is a very, very good gas tank. So we got to talk about the smaller cage a little bit. I think the smaller cage at the apex, I think it's going to give an advantage to Merab here. I mean, Dodson is someone who's going to want to stick and move, stay on the outside, use his speed. And, with that smaller cage, it's going to allow Merab to really close the distance a lot easier. Dodson's not going to have much room to, stick and move, run around. So I think Merab's going to be able to get him up against the cage, get him down a couple times. I see Dodson getting up fairly easy. And that's why I don't know if the line should be getting this wide. I mean, I liked what I got it at minus 130 by decision. Merab's not going to finish Dodson. Dodson's never been finished, and he has a ton of fights on his record. But, yeah, Merab, I think, is going to win this fight with takedowns, with pressure. That's how he wins a lot of fights. He presses guys against the cage. He doesn't let them do anything. And I don't think he's going to let Dodson do anything. When they are striking, you got to give the advantage to Dodson. And I guess what I'm worried about is maybe Dodson doing more on the feet. And then I'm worried about the judges, because this is most likely going to go to decision. Maybe the judges are going to favor the striking a little bit more. And we'll go back to the Frankie Saenz fight, where Dvalishvili, first of all, I thought he won that fight. Second of all, he had 10 takedowns in that fight. 10 takedowns, a bunch of control against the cage, and the judges gave the win to Frankie Saenz because he did more in the striking realm. But that's something we got to think about there. So I wouldn't go all in on Merab here, just because of I'm worried about the judging, and also Dodson still has that power. Obviously, we just saw it. And Dodson has won half of his wins by knockout. But I think Merab gets it done by decision. The first round could be close. Dawson, might win that first round, but I think second and third round, Merab's just going to break him, get him down a couple times, and I think Dawson's going to be very, very tired in that third round, and the takedowns are going to come easier and easier. They may not come as easy in the first round, but they'll come easier and easier in the second and third, and, just a fun prediction here, I think he's going to get, I'm going to say 9 takedowns in this fight, 9 takedowns on Dawson, maybe more if Dawson gets up, fairly easy, maybe he's able to mat return him, but I'm going to say 9 takedowns. Maybe there's a prop out there. How many takedowns is Merab going to get? Take the over. But yeah, give me Merab Dvalishvili by decision. I think it's going to be fairly comfortable, as long as the judges, don't overly favor the striking, as I do think he's going to do more. But fairly confident in that pick, and a lot of people are as well. The line is getting very wide. So if you're on a bet Merab, probably hop on now. Because it's probably going to get wider. Everybody's going to start parlaying, and it's a good parlay piece, but you might want to hop on ASAP. All right, this fight I'm really looking forward to, because we'll get to it in a little bit, but I see a lot of love for JDS, Junior Dos Santos, a legend of the sport, 36 years old, 6'4", with a 77-inch reach, 21-7, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Jairzinho Rozenstuik, still new in MMA. He's only 10-1. He's 32 years old, 6'4", with 4-1 in his last 5 fights. 78-inch reach, going to have a 1-inch reach advantage. So this fight, before watching any tape, I was all over Rozenstruik. I really was. Just the recency bias with Dos Santos getting knocked out by Curtis Blades, really not a good look. That is not a good look at this point in his career. JDS has been knocked out 5 times in his career. We saw him get knocked out twice in a row. And I don't know if you guys noticed this, but it doesn't look like he's really fighting smart in there. Like, against Francis Ngannou, he threw like a big, wild punch, and, Ngannou was able to easily counter that, and I think Rozenstruik will be able to do the same thing. So I see why people are picking Junior Dos Santos here, and I'm not. I'll tell you guys right now, I'm not picking him, and I'll tell you why. But I see why people are picking him. He's the veteran of the sport. Just looking at it on paper, he lands more strikes. He's probably the better striker. Rozenstruik, 32% striking defense. Yeah, I get all that. But I'm picking Rozenstruik to win. I see a lot of people saying that JDS is going to come out here and take him down. And, that's the first thing I looked for on tape is Dos Santos going to come in here and take down Rozenstruik, because Rozenstruik obviously has a flaw in his ground game. We saw that in the Overeem fight. We saw it in the Junior Albini fight. But that is something he's working on, all the time, is ground game. And it is getting a little bit better. He didn't look awful against Overeem in the ground, but getting taken down by Junior Albini is not a good look. But the thing is, Junior Dos Santos has a total of 2 takedowns since 2012. 8 years, 2 takedowns. He's not going to come in here and take down Rozenstruik. There's no way. The thing is, in the Francis Ngannou fight, he went out there. It didn't look like he was going for takedowns whatsoever. He just wanted to strike with Ngannou, which is an awful game plan. But he didn't try to go for takedowns against Francis Ngannou. And how do you beat Francis Ngannou? You take him down. You don't stand with him. And obviously Dos Santos got knocked out, in the first couple minutes there. But I think Dos Santos is going to come out here and try to outpoint him. Try to be the better striker, which I do think he is. I really do. But Rozenstruik is no slouch whatsoever. And I just want to point out that it seems like every single fight, people underestimate Rozenstruik. It seems like every single fight, people are picking against him. And, of course, disregard the Francis Ngannou fight. That's Francis Ngannou. He knocks everybody out, basically. And Rozenstruik has a great chin. I mean, just because he got knocked out by the hardest hitter in the UFC doesn't mean he's chinny whatsoever. He has a good chin. And his chin is way better than Junior Dos Santos. Dos Santos is definitely, towards the end of his career. If he gets knocked out here, that's going to be 3 knockout losses in a row. Really not a good look for JDS here. I just got to give the durability to Rozenstruik. I got to give the power to Rozenstruik. And watching tape on Dos Santos, especially the past couple fights, he leaves a lot of openings to be countered. And I just see Rozenstruik cracking him at some point. And, I mean, I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this pick, because it seems like the whole world is on JDS. And I wouldn't be surprised if this got closer to a pick-em by fight time, because the line is now Rozenstruik minus 140, JDS plus 120. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I can make a case, for JDS. I can, I guess, but I just see Rozenstruik knocking him out at some point. I mean, he knocked down Crowder with a jab. We saw him knock out Overeem in the last seconds of their fight. This dude has absolute power. He hits like a truck, and you're telling me, Dos Santos' chin is going to be able to avoid all those power shots throughout 3 rounds? Or you're telling me Dos Santos is going to come in here and knock out Rozenstuik? No, there's just a lot of recency bias going on. We just saw Rozenstuik get knocked out by Francis Ngannou. That's fresh in everybody's minds, but we really got to look past that. He's not a chinny fighter. He has a good chin from what I've seen. Disregard the Francis Ngannou fight. That is Francis Ngannou. And a lot of people were actually, picking Rozenstuik in that fight, actually. They thought they would, outland Ngannou. But Ngannou came out there. I've never seen something like that. He came out there with huge winging shots and knocked out Rozenstuik. And wow. But Ngannou's an absolute monster. I think Rozenstruik's going to win this fight. Give me first round knockout for Rozenstruik. And I might bet this, especially if the line gets closer. For sure going to take a shot at this. But, for anybody that's betting JDS, good luck to you. You're going to want his chin to hold up. And then if it does, I think he could win a possible decision. But I just see Rozenstruik knocking him out here. All right, next we got the co-main event here. And, what a co-main event it is. I mean, this is probably the people's main event here. Fantastic fight. I mean, something I'm really looking forward to. Honestly, I love the DC Stipe fight, but this is something I'm really looking forward to watching. We have a very great prospect in Sean O'Malley versus the very underrated Marlon Vera, the very dangerous Marlon Vera. And I just want to point out the odds before we get into any stats or anything. Sean O'Malley is minus 325, which I think is an absolute joke. Like, that does not make any sense whatsoever. He's a bigger favorite now than he was against Jose Quinones, and then after that he fought Eddie Wineland. I mean, come on. I mean, that's not the best competition. Before that, Sukum Top. Like, he's not been tested yet whatsoever in his career, and this is going to be his first test. And you're telling me he's 3-1 here? I don't know about that. I mean, there's a lot of questions with Sean O'Malley still, and they're definitely going to be answered in this fight. This is a huge test. If he's able to get through this fight, I mean, I'm going to be 100% sold on Sean O'Malley if he gets through Marlon Vera, because Marlon Vera is someone who I'm extremely high on. Very, very good fighter. But we're going to get into the stats to start it out. So Sean O'Malley is 25 years old, very young fighter, 5'11", a 72-inch reach, 12-0, obviously 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Marlon Vera, he is 27 years old, still a young fighter there, 5'8", 70.5-inch reach, 17-6-1, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. And a lot of people thought he won his last fight against Song Yadong. And, personally, I thought so as well. But, the judges went the other way there. It was a very, very good fight for Marlon Vera in his last fight with Yadong. Very exciting fight. And a lot of his fights are exciting. A lot of his fights are wars. And I do think he's going to go to war here with Sean O'Malley. So, I guess we'll get into a little bit of the stats here. And they're kind of skewed because, obviously, O'Malley has not been fighting the best competition. But we'll just touch on some things. So, O'Malley, very high output, averages 6.93 significant strikes per minute. Very precise with his striking, averages 58% striking accuracy. He gets hit 4.21 significant strikes per minute with a 66% striking defense. As for Marlon Vera, he lands 3.7. So, I know it's not a big sample size for O'Malley, but he is landing about double those strikes, more output there. Some things I want to point out, and this is the grappling stats. O'Malley with a 61% takedown defense. Marlon Vera averages only 0.88 takedowns per 50 minutes with a 42% takedown accuracy. So O'Malley has finished 58% of his fights by knockout. We saw the beautiful Eddie Wineland knockout his last fight. Man, that was very, very nice. And then 16% won by sub for O'Malley with a 74% finish rate. And Marlon Vera, 33% won by knockout, 56% by submission. He's a very good finisher, very good on the mat. And this is key here. Marlon Vera has never been finished. He has never been finished. He's lost by decision 6 times, but he has never been finished. He has a chin of steel. He eats flush knockout shots to the chin. Like, this guy's chin is great. And obviously O'Malley's never been finished. He's undefeated, but I think this fight's going to play out way closer than the line indicates. Way closer. And I'm going to favor O'Malley, and I'll tell you why. At first, I thought I was going to come in here and pick Marlon Vera, but after watching tape, I'm not going to, and I'll tell you why. O'Malley is a young fighter. He's improving all the time. He's been working on that ground game. We see outside the UFC, he's definitely working on that ground game. We've seen that quite a bit, and his ground game might get tested here. The thing is, I don't know if Vera is going to have the wrestling to really get O'Malley down, and Vera doesn't really go for takedowns all that much. Maybe he's able to get a trip in the clinch, but when it's on the feet, I think O'Malley's going to have a decent advantage here. I think he's going to get hit, but I think he's going to have a decent advantage in the striking. The thing about Marlon Vera is he's a very slow starter. He really doesn't kick it into gear until that second round most of the time, and that's when O'Malley's most dangerous. So that's what I'm kind of. If you're picking Vera, you should be very, very concerned about that first round. I can almost guarantee you that O'Malley's going to win that first round. Maybe he even hurts Vera at some point. But yeah, I see O'Malley win that first round, and the next two are going to be very close, especially if Vera maybe is able to implement some wrestling grappling. At that point, O'Malley's definitely going to get tested down there. But overall, I see O'Malley winning that first round. I think the next two are going to be close, but I'm going to give the slight edge to O'Malley there. I think he's going to be able to keep this on the feet for the most part, and Vera's pretty hittable. He averages about 4.11 absorbed per minute. Marlon Vera. Was taking a bunch of shots from Song Yadong's last fight. And I don't know, if O'Malley can keep this on the feet, I think he'll be fine, but I don't know. I have a feeling this is going to get to the ground at some point. And, at that point, O'Malley's, submission defense is going to be tested 100%. And we're going to see, what he's made of. This is going to be an absolute war. And I think it is going to be a close fight. But I'm going to say O'Malley is able to edge out 2 of those 3 rounds. Curious to see what O'Malley is going to look like in the second round, third round. But give me Sean O'Malley to win by decision, and maybe take a look at betting the decision prop, because Vera is very, very tough. I don't know. I don't really see O'Malley finishing him. If he does, it's probably going to be in that first round. But I think it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be an absolute war. I'm going to pick Sean O'Malley to continue this hype train. But honestly, don't go out and parlay Sean O'Malley at minus 325. I don't really feel comfortable with that at all. If anything, take a look at the decision prop. Take a look at the first round prop. As for the people that are betting Vera, you're getting tons of value. I even thought about it myself. You're getting so much value. The line should be so much closer. But give me Sean O'Malley with a very close decision, edging 2 out of those 3 rounds there. But it's a fight I'm really looking forward to. A fight that, like I said, probably the people's main event. A lot of people are tuning in to see the Sugar Show. So really looking forward to that. Hopefully he gets it done. And it's a shame. I like both of these fighters. I like Sean O'Malley quite a bit. I like Marlon Vera quite a bit. So, one of them's going to win, and I do think it's going to be O'Malley in a very close war. All right, so next we have the main event of the evening, a fight we've seen twice before, the trilogy of Daniel Cormier versus Stipe Miocic. And I don't know. This fight is pretty tough to call. Just taking a look at the odds here. Cormier is minus 115. Stipe is minus 105. He was like minus 125 Cormier earlier in the day, but the lines come back a little bit, as it should. This is a pick'em fight. Daniel Cormier, he is 41 years old. Daniel Cormier has a 72.5-inch reach, so Stipe is going to have a 8-inch reach advantage just about. So Cormier is 22-2, and Stipe is 9-3 there. But, man, just taking a look at it here, I'm going to pick Daniel Cormier, and I'll tell you why here. Watching that second fight back, obviously we know what happened with the first fight with, Cormier catching Stipe very early. But watching that second fight back, Cormier fought a very, very, very not smart game plan. He wasn't really playing defense at times. He would let Stipe hit him. Which I did not like. And then, but he was looking good. He was having a lot of success. I thought he won every single one of those rounds. In the first round, he looked fantastic, was able to get a takedown, have some top control, and I really expected to see DC do more of that. And, just listening to some interviews, I've seen DC say that he's going to go to his wrestling a lot more. He's going to have better cardio, and that was the downfall. Like, his cardio looked very, very poor. In the second round, he was looking tired. And then it got to the fourth, he was looking very, very tired. And that can happen, or he's not going to win this fight. But he said he's been working on his cardio. He said he's been doing the bike every time he trains, getting on the bike, going back to his old ways. He said it's not going to happen again. He's not going to get tired again. And I just don't think he came in there prepared. And I'll tell you guys right now, I think he's going to be prepared in this fight. This is his last fight. He's retiring after this fight. I think he's going to come in here ready, come in here and try to get the win. But this fight's probably going to play out close. If DC comes in here with a smart game plan, implements his wrestling, is able to get Stipe down, go more to that wrestling. And I see a lot of people on Stipe, and, I can see why. I mean, the blueprint is written out. And obviously, I think DC is going to be smart enough to know that the body shots are going to be coming. And a lot of people are saying that all Stipe has to do is go to the body early, and maybe he does, but I am about 99% sure that DC has been prepping for those body shots, and he has something for it. But I think DC is going to be able to implement his wrestling here. I think he's going to fight a better game plan here. And in the striking in the second fight, I mean, DC looked like the better striker there. And like I said, I was surprised he wasn't going for more takedowns, but his striking looked very good. And I don't know if his cardio was better in that second fight. I don't think he was going to lose that fight. And I'm banking on his cardio looking good. So I do want to see the weigh-ins for this fight. I want to see what DC looks on the scales. If it looks like he just got off the couch, which I don't expect at all, but if it looks like he just got off the couch, I'm going to lean Stipe. If it looks like he comes in here and he's ready to go, he's been putting in work with some cardio, he looks, in fight-ready shape, I might place a bet on DC. I just think he's the better fighter. And, a lot of people are probably going to be split in this fight, and you have a good reason to be. This is a very close fight. We've seen Stipe, win a couple months ago. That's fresh in a lot of people's heads. But I'm going to go with Cormier here to win. And I'm going to say he wins by decision. I could see either guy finishing either guy, but I'm just going to say DC is able to take him down, land some ground and pound, maybe conserve himself a little bit better, maybe fight a little smarter, not be so reckless. He landed 181 strikes in that last fight. That's a lot. That is the most he's landed in his whole career. And I think a little bit less strikes, a little bit more wrestling, I think that would help his cardio quite a bit. But I just think I'm going to go with the better fighter here with Daniel Cormier. Stipe is live for a knockout. Cormier has been knocked out twice. Once by Stipe, once by John Jones. But I'm going to bank on, Cormier coming here with better cardio, coming in ready to go, coming in here with a better game plan, and retiring as the champ. And yeah, like I said, I might bet that. But I want to see the weigh-ins first. The weigh-ins are going to be very important, and that's why it is important for you guys to check into my live stream on Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to be going to the weigh-ins, and like I said, there's a bunch of fights. I want to see the weigh-ins, like the Kamaka Kelley. I want to see the Porter Dawkins, the heavyweight fight. I want to see that on the weigh-ins. Some other fights I want to see. I want to see how Dos Santos is looking on the scales as well. I want to see how Rozenstuik's looking, And then I want to see this fight is probably most important for me to see on those scales, see how they're looking. I heard Stipe is in great shape. I heard Cormier is in great shape. I want to see it for myself, and I'll talk about it a little bit on the final thoughts weigh-in video on Friday. So that's about it. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys so much for your support. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys enjoy my videos, leave a like, leave a subscribe. It really, really helps me out a ton. Would love to get 6,000 subscribers by the end of summer. And as for the contests go, I'm going to be doing 2 big contests this week for the big card. The first one for DraftKings, like I said, first like the video, subscribe if you haven't yet, drop your DraftKings username, I'll get you in there ASAP. And then next, I'm going to be doing a giveaway for the people that don't play DraftKings. If you play DraftKings, you can do this one as well. But first, like the video, subscribe if you haven't yet. And then comment how many significant strikes in total you think Cormier and Stipe are going to land. The last fight was like 303. The first fight was a lot less than that, but whoever gets it right, if you get it on the dot, I will double the winning prize, 25 to 50. And I know it's not a lot, but I want to give back to the people who support me, and just say thank you for all the support out there. Really grew my channel over the past couple months. Can't be any more thankful for that. And I've absolutely been killing the game. I mean, you guys can check my Twitter. have been, on fire with the betting, from the betting perspective, as well as the DraftKings as well. So I've been really killing it lately, and hopefully continuing that onto this card. I have 2 bets placed already. We'll talk about them a little bit on Friday, and there's some other spots I'm looking at as well. I was going to get some action on that Ankalaev Kutabella fight, but that fight's not going to take place until later in the month, so we'll touch on it then. But there are some spots I'm looking at this week. Make sure you guys tune into Odds HQ. I'm on there, pretty much all week nowadays. Going to be on there Wednesday at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. I'm going to be on there Friday, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, right after my live video at 7. But with that said, good luck to everybody on your bets. Good luck this week on everything, and let's have a great card, and let's make some money. Let's keep it rolling.